Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way to get up than to get up with Garret.
There he is, Dougie. Woo!
Absolutely.
Dougie, I've been up since 4:30, baby, so
Nice.
been waiting, rocking to go.
Absolutely.
Ready to see you today and ready to be with our audience and super excited. We have a great show today. We, in a little bit, are going to bring on a wonderful guest, friend of mine, Jennifer Kenny from the Independent Stylist podcast, amongst many other things, has taught me a lot about helping women own their own health, beauty, wellness business. So we'll have some time with her.
Nice.
And like always, we are live on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. So any questions, comments you have for anything going on in the show or for our guests, you're always welcome to send those in live, and Dougie will bring them up and we'll address them. That's the beauty of being live.
You can answer it live.
That's
But
pretty
you
cool.
want to do it. You want to do it on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube.
All of them. Why not?
Well, with the Instagram ones, we can't really
Yes.
see.
Do not write anything on Instagram.
Well, you can, but we won't see it.
We won't see it.
Be nice too.
Or you can email the show. We have our own
Yes,
email
yes.
address, which is down below. Perfect. getupwithgarret@gmail.com. And Dougie, if you ever forget what the name of the show is,
Yeah.
we now have a visual, right?
Oh, yes. You want to pull that up right away?
Let's do it. Let's go
Wow,
right
wait.
away.
Right away. We're getting right into it. Here it is.
The Undefeated Media team has been busy coming up with our new logo, and there it is. Get Up with Garret. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's exactly what I was looking for.
Nice.
Far away from the first iteration.
But we won't talk about that
we
one.
we won't show that one. But Jessica, I think I'm ready to hire you to put this on a t-shirt.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, my wife's so busy, it's going to probably take 2-3 weeks just to get on her calendar. No special, no friends and family rate. But I'm loving what this logo speaks about. You've got the real estate, the skyline. You've got the boldness of kind of get up, right? Obviously, you have Garret spelled right. That's kind of the first thing.
Yeah.
And you got that sunshine in the background, which is kind of what I'm about. Getting up early, getting ahead of your day, attacking your day, playing from the front and not being, reactive, being much more of a proactive business person. So I love it. I think you hit a home run. Thanks to the team at Undefeated Media for delivering that to me.
Thank you. The comments are coming in, flooding in. Jeffrey Krentzman, our friend Jeffrey, says, hot logo.
Hot logo.
Yeah,
it reminds me of
buddy.
the Paris Hilton, and I am missing her name. Who's the other gal? Nicole Richie. That's hot. Right?
Yeah.
They used to say that all the time on that
Totes.
on that show. So thanks, Jeffrey Krentzman. Always a great supporter. We have to have Jeff on the show as a guest.
Absolutely.
Talk about his entrepreneurial background and how he's grown his barbecue cleaning company.
Absolutely.
No hockey talk on that show, though. My show, no hockey.
All right.
So that's cool. I appreciate that. And I wanted to get right into talking about Tesla. We've been covering this topic for the past couple shows.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm a big believer in companies that have multiple lines of revenue that are not just a car company. And I've always said to you, the audience, Tesla is way ahead and playing on a different level than the other groups. And, not only are they a car company, but they're going to be first in automation, in self-driving. They're incredible in solar and batteries. And they just have an incredible staff who fights as just, they built a better mousetrap. I'm sorry. They're smarter than the other people. They just are. The engineers are smarter. So we have been big believers and put our money where our mouth is with Tesla. And we do it through a mutual fund investor, a billionaire named Ron Barron. So here's a little tidbit. You can go on barronfunds.com and you can open up your own account and invest with Ron Barron. Please be careful. Obviously, read all the perspectives. You have to understand the risk. Some of the stuff that we invest in is riskier than other things. Okay, so full disclosure. But we have an account there. I should say he has a fund called the Barron Partners Fund, and he's very heavy in Tesla. Okay, it's probably 35 to 40% of the fund. So this is not something, it's extremely volatile. Don't put the money in here that you need for next week, for your kids' college next year. This is kind of 7, 10, 15-year long game plan money that we're talking about. I always say in golf, play the long game.
Absolutely.
We don't play putt-putt in business.
Absolutely.
Never. So why don't you roll the clip? He was just on CNBC, and he talks about where we are with Tesla here.
Oh, 1 second. 1 second. We
No, we
got
gotta bring the audio
little
in.
audio technical difficulties here.
I will say that it's up over. it's at over $1,000. I mean, remember we were talking. It was $800. It was $900. It's now reached over $1,000. One of the big things that has pushed it here is the supply chain. So while Doug's figuring out the video, I think one of the difference makers, you keep saying, where are the cars? Where's the chips, right? What type of chip shortages are out there? So there he goes.
Just give me a
Rewind
second to
it,
bring it
couple
back.
seconds.
Hey, let me just give it like here. I hope you guys can hear it at home.
I hope so.
Maybe Jennifer can give us a thumbs up.
You've been outperforming the markets pretty handily because of a lot of your investments, not the least of which is Tesla. Tesla crossing over $1,000 a share, which is pretty remarkable when you consider that you own almost 6 million shares of Tesla for a valuation of about $6.1 billion. And your cost average for that is $42.88. Let me say that again. It's now over $1,000 a share. Your cost average, $42.88. That's a remarkable gain. And it tells just about what a long time you have been such a bull and considered Tesla to be a great place to be. How long ago did you make that investment? When did you start?
2014 to 2016 when we invested. But that is sort of a normal type of investment, being a very long-term investment for us, being 7 years, 8 years so far. I think we'll probably be an investor for another 10 years, at least. Same with SpaceX. But to talk about the profits that we've generated, we now have $58.9 billion of assets under management, and we made our clients $54 billion of profits. In that $54 billion of profits is included about $6 billion from Tesla from a $380 million investment.
What?
7 or 8 years ago.
$6 billion.
It wasn't smooth. The business was continuing to increase, and the stock price gyrated.
That's a B, Dougie.
Significantly.
I like Bs.
In the first several years because they weren't very profitable. It's very, very hard to accomplish what they have. Very hard. And in my lifetime, in the 1950s, there were maybe 50 car companies. They all failed. When I first met Elon 10 years ago, I thought I was very skeptical about whether it would be successful. And it's only after they started producing the Model S, we began to purchase stock. It took us 2 years to make that investment. Before we made the investment, we went to visit and spoke to him regularly. Probably followed it for 3 or 4 or 5 years before we ultimately invested.
Okay,
and
that's good. So, a couple things, and I know I gave you a photo to put up as well.
Yes, sir.
So, what I want to highlight there, first of all, it took him a couple years to invest. We talked about previously on a show, you don't just go and drop $10,000 or $1 million or whatever you walk into. You do what's called dollar cost averaging. I learned this from my Uncle Paul. It's really important that you do it over time. So the Barron funds accumulated this Tesla position over 2 years, not in one day. And furthermore, Ron talks about playing the long game when he says we made this investment over 2 years, but also we got to know Elon over 3 or 4 years. This wasn't just let's have one dinner and let's give you millions of dollars. It was let's go visit all your factories. Let's get to know your staff. Let's get to know the psychographics, the psychology of it. How do you think? How do you operate? And Ron will tell you Elon is one of the smartest people in the world and is doing humanity a huge favor, right? And so I apologize. The video, the photo, you just had to put it back up real quick.
All right, you got it.
Now I'm going to get to that. So the photo you have, so here's the numbers. They invested, it's a little small for me to read from here. What does it say? 200 or 300 million they invested?
256 million total cost.
Yeah, that's their cost. So that's what they put in.
At $42 a share?
Okay, so their average cost basis is $42 a share. Okay, is everybody hearing this? It's over $1,000 right now. So don't tell me that there's not opportunities out there for you. Everybody saw Tesla. Everybody. Did you buy it at 42, Dougie?
I wish I did.
Okay. So, don't tell me there aren't good opportunities for you to invest and make money. You have to be patient. Barron invested, what did it say? 256 million.
256 million.
Okay, that's worth now. It made a $6 billion.
6.1
Okay,
billion.
so yeah, like a $5.9 billion profit. $5.9 billion profit. Should I say that again? $5.9 billion profit.
You can live off that for a little bit.
Okay, would that
Just
be
a little-
enough for you,
a little
Dougie?
bit. Yeah, just for a little bit.
How many sneakers can you buy with that, Dougie?
A couple.
Oh my goodness. So think about now that's spread out amongst a number of mutual funds he owns for obviously thousands and thousands of clients that he has. But you can play a small role in that. You can open up an account there and it's probably, I don't know what the minimum is, $2,500 or $5,000. It's not, you don't have to be a millionaire to open up an account. But let a professional do that for you, right? Like beating the market and trying to pick your own stocks is almost impossible. Hiring someone and going to a mutual fund like that, where they're looking at this every day, they've got analysts, they're professionals, they're going to do a lot better than you. You may get lucky with your Dogecoin once in a while. You may get lucky, you know, a broken clock twice a day.
Yes.
But incredible story, right? And a great guy.
Yes.
And
And
great guy.
let me so I always play the long game.
Yes.
I'm in it. I got Ethereum.
Yes.
Everything
Talked about that.
everything I put in, I'm putting it in. I'm not trying to like take it out. I'm not day trading, right?
Good.
So going back to the Dogecoin, I got Dogecoin super cheap, 0.0000002 cents, right? I put like $50 in it. Now that's like $11,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And the new Shiba one that everyone's talking about, I did that 5 months ago at 0.0000003. I have 7 million shares of Shiba.
Oh my God. You were
If that hits $1,
right.
I have $7
$7
million.
That's
Now
incredible.
I don't think it's going to hit $1. I mean, if it hits 50 cents, I'm in
Yeah,
clear,
half a
right?
million. Sure.
I mean, great, sure,
Incredible.
right? But like
Wow.
I sprinkle a little bit here and
Okay.
there. I'm not making big investments, but if one of them hits, I'm playing a longer game. I'm not trying to
Always.
day trade the Dogecoin.
No.
But if Dogecoin hits,
Good.
I had $50.
You got to play the long
Yeah.
game. You got to play the long game. The other cool thing is it's been a great week or two for women-owned businesses and kind of women rule Wall Street. I think I gave you a picture also to put up. So
Yes.
two really exciting things. Sarah Blakely sold the majority of Spanx to a big private equity group. I think it was 1.2 billion is what the company was valued at. She never had any investors, never had any debt, built this business, women's undergarments. I don't know much about, of course, from scratch. And so she's incredible. And then Rent the Runway, which I thought was kind of a cool company where, I don't know if you have any of your friends, girlfriends who've tried this before, but women can rent kind of these incredible outfits and wear them to business meetings for going out with their friends, their family, and it's designer looks without spending thousands of dollars. And so Rent the Runway is not a name that was talked about on a kind of a global public company type of, network. And they went public. That was their CEO on CNBC, and they were valued at 1.7 billion. So again, two women-led companies, absolutely crushing it. Just makes me feel awesome thinking about my girls growing up, having those opportunities. Of course, all the stylists at Salons by JC. I think women are ruling Wall Street. It's incredible. Thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Little update on the hedges, our big project in Hawthorne. After I left the show last week, when we did our Rich Dad Poor Dad breakdown, we went over to Hawthorne and got some couple photos, and Dougie can share those. The framing is just rocking and rolling. It was a beautiful sunny day. So the whole first floor is basically framed now.
Nice.
And so you've probably heard of lumber shortages, right?
Yeah, we took it all.
We got it. Here's your lumber shortage. We're like Elon Musk of chips.
Nice.
He's got all the chips and we got all the wood.
Nice.
So excited about that. And they're telling me that by the end of the year, this thing will be framed like with a roof.
Nice. With a roof.
Do you say roof or do you say roof?
A roof.
Sounds like Daisy going roof.
Roof.
So, and I've met some great people from Hawthorne and from Glenrock who are kind of on that VIP waiting list. So if you live in Hawthorne and you're interested in being part of the hedges, feel free to email us. We do want to make sure we have a couple units set aside for Hawthorne residents to have the first pick. It is important that we're a good member of the community as well.
Absolutely.
So now my phone, there it is back. Let's talk a little sports.
Sure.
For those that don't know, my background was sport management or is sport management. I've worked for 3 professional teams, the Nets, they were the New Jersey Nets, now the Brooklyn Nets.
I'm a little sour about that.
Yeah, me too. The Pittsburgh Pirates, and of course, the Golden State Warriors was my first job after college. And the Warriors look hot. 4-0. What a start. Steph Curry playing incredible. I mean, he had 45 points in one game. He's shooting it from who knows where. He just pulls up.
Yeah.
The release is ridiculous. The handles are just out of this world. And really excited. I mean, the Warriors, people, I think, counted them out, but they have a legitimate shot to win the NBA championship. And I'll be thrilled for my dear friend, Brandon Schneider, who's the new president of the Warriors, and all my other friends and colleagues that I got to be with almost 20 years ago now, I guess.
Wow.
So they're looking good. And if you've been following the Get Up with Garret show regarding your NFL picks, you made some big money last week because Garret, that's me, went 3-0.
Nice.
And Dougie, that's you,
Yes.
went 2-1. Still
Yes.
not bad.
Not bad.
We both were correct on the Jets getting absolutely humiliated,
Yeah.
right? I think they lost 54-10 or something ridiculous. Is Zach Wilson kind of hurt now? He's out for a few weeks. They're bringing in Joe Flacco. Does that get you excited about showing up? I'm not sure.
We got to go Boston.
Who's that?
From the crowd? I don't know.
Go Boston from the crowd. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's hey, it is what it is. New England. Those people, they're everywhere.
Everybody can't choose the right team every time.
Every time. And they're not in the World Series this year. But and then the other game was the Raiders beat those dirty, filthy, disgusting Eagles. Sorry to any of those fans out there, but I feel like being an Eagle fan is like not taking a shower for a month. It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gross.
Yeah.
And so the Raiders beat up on them. The John Grudenless Raiders are 2-0 now without Gruden.
Wow.
So maybe, there is some magic in that team, and there's some leadership there.
Mm-hmm.
So you and I were both correct on that, Dougie. But where we differed was I still bleed blue and went with the New York Giants getting that big victory.
Yes.
Danny Jones making a one-hand catch looking like Odell Beckham Jr.
That was pretty good.
And then getting hit. And if you still have questions about Danny Jones being your franchise quarterback, are you kidding? I mean, email the show. Let me know in the comments, like, where are you coming from? The Giants are all in on Jones. And if you don't realize this, you need to wake up and find a new show because we're going to keep talking about it because it's obvious and it's happening. So Giants get the big victory against Carolina at MetLife. They desperately needed that.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but every win is an opportunity to gain more confidence for the future. So would like to talk about next week's games or this week's games, I guess.
Absolutely.
So we'll start with, first of all, tonight is going to be an awesome game. If you have a chance to watch it tonight, I don't know if they stream it locally, but certainly on the NFL Network, if you get that, you're going to have Kyler Murray and the Cardinals taking on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. So Cardinals have started 6-0, I think. They're hot.
Yeah.
And I think J.J. Watt just announced he's going to perhaps have shoulder-ending surgery. Say that 3 times fast. Or maybe Adam Schefter dropped
now
that.
Or like after the season?
I think now. I think it's sad because this guy has just I just read this on the card.
Just played the Titans and
played awesome.
I mean
and,
the Texans.
He's always had he's had a lot of injuries, but he's also kind of a generational talent that I think we all should appreciate.
Absolutely.
I love appreciating greatness. And so that game, I'm not picking that game, but I'm watching that game for sure.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
That's
I'm really
shame,
excited
because that's a big factor. If I'm making a bet on that game, whether JJ's in or not is a factor of that game. That's a huge factor.
Well, my sister's name is Jamie, and we call her JJ. Do you think she could sub in?
Yeah, she could sub in.
All right, she'll sub in. Okay, so let's talk about the games we've got for this week. The first game, I'm really excited about this one, is the Titans.
Yeah.
And they are giving 1 point at the Colts. Colts kind of woke up a little bit last week or two.
Yeah.
They beat San Francisco in a horrible weather game on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the Titans have really come awake. Remember the Titans,
Yes.
okay? And that Derrick Henry, let me just tell you, Derrick Henry, he averages more yards in like the second half than anyone else because everybody just gets so scared and tired of tackling him. It's an incredible
it hurts to
business
tackle him.
strategy. I love this business plan. Let's just keep pounding it until they go, you know what? I've had enough. That's exactly what happens. I'm telling you, Dougie, that's the plan.
There's so many jokes I could say there, but I'm going to let it slide.
Okay, let it go. Let it go. So I'm going to take the Titans giving 1. I like this Tannehill as kind of more than a game manager, but a good quarterback. And I like Derrick Henry, and I like the coach.
They just beat the Chiefs, didn't they?
And they surprised the Chiefs. They shut them out by, I think the Chiefs only scored 3.
Wow.
Which was pretty crazy.
Very surprising, the Chiefs season. But so the Titans are playing who?
The Colts.
Colts. Ooh.
on the
Yeah,
road.
I'm gonna agree with you, Titans.
Okay, so I got to write this down. So we're both going with Titans.
Yes.
Okay, you keep an eye on the comments and things like that. I'm going to keep an eye on
I
the
got
scores
one
here.
right after our picks. We
Okay,
got one
you
coming
got-
up.
okay,
Tara,
cool.
don't worry. I see you, Tara.
Okay, so then we've got the Chargers
Mhm.
giving 5.5. Okay, home in California.
Yeah.
LA now. Versus the Patriots for the Boston fans that are out there.
Chargers.
Okay, so you like the Chargers?
Yeah. They're
giving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the Chargers need to win by more than 5.5.
Yeah.
So a touchdown, basically.
Yeah. No, I'm
on
going
the road.
Chargers.
Okay. I like that one too. And then the last one would be the Cowboys giving 2.5 on the road with the Vikings. I think Kirk Cousins is playing pretty well this year.
I'm going Dallas.
You're going
2
Dallas?
point- Dallas is playing great.
Dallas is playing great.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott could be couple little issues though.
Yes. So you're absolutely right. They
you-
might actually sit him.
So maybe you should go with
Because of his
Minnesota
calf.
then
Depend.
'Cause the calf.
I mean, I have to decide now.
on the spot.
If Dak plays, I'm definitely going Cowboys. But if Dak's out, I'm still going Cowboys. You know
Okay.
what? I'm going Cowboys.
Cowboys
Yeah.
2.5.
And only
Okay.
2 points. Yeah.
2.5. No,
Yeah.
2.5.
2.5.
All right. So I'll take Vikings. Okay, getting the points because I want to be
You
different.
sure you want that one? This is your show. You could take.
I know.
You could take the.
I don't want to bet. I don't want to root for the Cowboys. That's horrible.
I know, but I'm with you. I've been betting for the Giants every week, and then the 1 week I don't, they blow out the Panthers. So I
Got
feel you on that.
And I was telling you earlier, one of the cool things you can do if you're not sure about what you want to do with your bets, right?
Yeah.
You could always do a parlay. So, for example, when you bet the spread, right? You bet $100, you're probably going to win 90. Is typically how it works because there's a vig, right?
Yeah.
And if you bet the money line and the team is totally going to win, it's a no-brainer. Then you're going to bet 100 and you're going to win, 30 or something. It's not a huge amount. It's a big risk for a little win.
Yeah.
But you could parlay the game and say, all right, I'm going to pick Tampa and I'm going to pick the Patriots. They're both playing the Jets and they're both going to beat the Jets. Of course, you parlay that and maybe you win 60 or 70, so you get a little bit. That's a great way to do it, by the way,
Nice.
if you don't love the spread.
Absolutely.
The spread betting. So, all right, cool. You said you had a comment you
Yes.
wanted to share?
Tara says, life facts. Every win is an opportunity to gain more confidence for the future.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Tara.
you, Tara.
Tara and I went to the prom together 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Nice.
An old friend.
Nice.
Old friend. And so I want to give a little bit of a heads up to our guest.
Yeah.
I know that Jennifer's been in our green room.
Yes.
She's been enjoying what color?
Only orange Skittles.
She requested orange
Only
Skittles.
orange.
Wow.
All the other colors had to be picked out one by
Wow.
one.
Quite a rider she comes with.
with.
And so Jennifer Kenny is in our green room. We're going to bring her in here if she's ready. Can we make sure she's ready?
Absolutely.
She looks good. She's ready to go.
Absolutely. Always.
Let's
looks
go
good.
into
Hey.
caviar. Hey Jen, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Thanks for getting up with Garret. Appreciate it. Good to
No problem.
Good to see you. Good to see you. So Jennifer Kenny has a podcast, an Instagram, website, a number of names. She'll tell us all about it. But I know her kind of as the independent stylist, especially the independent stylist podcast on Instagram. Most people won't push someone else's podcast on their own, but I'm not like that. I feel it's important to share everyone's opportunities.
Absolutely.
And what really kind of brought Jennifer and I together, I was doing research about Salons by JC expanding, and there's not a lot of resources out there for health and wellness professionals and beauty professionals that want to go out on their own and own their own company, whether it's open a full service salon, have a salon suite, rent a chair, whatever it may be, doing their own models. And Jennifer's got a marketing background. She was a marketing major, and she actually worked for a competitor of mine in a suite model for a couple of years I think in Florida. And she was making 6 figures. Like, again, on our show, we're going to talk numbers. She was killing it. That's a big earner. That's a big amount of money. And, she did this on her own. And, I maybe got to the point where she realized that she's gained some great tools and success and wanted to have a family and was able to reinvent herself as being able to share this education with other women who were up and coming, thinking about maybe doing this. So obviously that, education is super passionate to me. I know it's super important to Jennifer and friends of ours at some of the big companies like L'Oreal and Salon Centric. Education is so important in this industry. And so I was immediately kind of, drawn to her and wanted to soak up everything she could tell me. So Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of specifically, what you do, what's your bread and butter, and why do you do it?
Absolutely. So I did hair behind the chair for about 10 years. And I just decided I just wanted a new challenge. That's like the short of it. And I wanted to be able to be home with my son. I really just didn't want to work behind the chair anymore. So I started thinking, but I wanted to make money. What else can I do? And I knew I wanted to help other women, people, but obviously women in my industry. And I really threw stuff at the wall for a good solid year to see what stuck, to find that kind of meeting between what I had to offer and how I could take that and help other people, and then what they would buy. And my bread and butter, actually, I never in a million years would have thought this, turned out to be ebooks. That's my actual bread and butter.
That's incredible.
It's so funny because my husband will be watching this and laughing and shaking his head because I said, "Oh, I don't think hairstylists will buy an ebook. I just don't think that's what they are going to want."
And what did Andrew say? What did he say?
He was also the one that said, "Why don't you start a podcast?" And I was like, "No." So
no one's going to want that.
Nobody's going to want that. So I started. And I remember you sent me, I asked for, kind of what you wanted, like talking points, what you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said was business failure. And when I say I was throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck.
Yeah, I want to hear more about this.
I'm not kidding. The first class that I put out was how to edit photos for stylists.
Really?
Because, and you know this because you own so many suites, not every suite has a window.
No, most of them don't. Wait, Jennifer, most of them don't. No,
and
absolutely.
I worked most of the time in suites that didn't have windows. And you can't always take your client outside in the natural light to get a good picture. And if you work at night, it doesn't matter if you have a window. And with Instagram really being such a huge place it's really the place for stylists to display their work. Well, what happens if you don't have all those great natural light pictures? What are you going to do? And so the geek in me made an entire class that could have probably in retrospect been like a 5-minute Instagram live about how to use Adobe Lightroom to brighten up pictures and change tones. Because if like you look at my hair right now, if I go in it'll be 4 different colors depending on what lighting I'm in, especially blondes. So I was like, this is how to make it cooler. This is how to make it warmer or whatever. And I think I sold 2, both to people that I know.
Of course. That's how it starts. Your sphere of influence, as Ryan Bergman would say.
So that was kind of a womp womp moment. And then I went to a membership group and that did okay. But it was really, I was giving marketing tips I wasn't speaking to the right people. If that makes sense. I was trying to speak to stylist, but I was speaking really looking back to other people that were trying to do what I wanted to do. And I learned, and everything I've done in both of my businesses, every failure or bump in the road has actually been, I'm very grateful because it helped me find something better and put me on the path to where I needed to be. That makes sense.
Right. So one door closes, another one opens. And here, on our show, we do this segment called the reverse resume, where we kind of look at and say, look, hey, it's so great you made 6 figures, and it's so great you started this, but take me through something that didn't work. And the reason why is because that's really kind of the core of what I found and what friends of mine have found is success is being able to adjust, right? Not being so tied and have such an ego that the idea you had, oh, it didn't work. Like, okay, so stop feeling sorry for yourself. Like, cut the pity party. We don't need that. Let's figure out what's next. And I'm literally thinking of you throwing stuff at the wall. Like, the kids have those sticky things, right? And we used to throw like wet, Dougie, we would take the paper towels and toilet paper and make it wet. And I forget what they call those, but I've had those thrown at me too.
I just take a handful of spaghetti.
Yeah, spaghetti. And it's like literally whatever sticks. I mean, that's trial and error, right, Jennifer? That's brainstorming. I mean,
it's
that's
like Billy Madison when they throw the pickles at that scene where they're throwing the pickles.
But people are afraid to do that, I find, and I don't know what it is. Like perhaps they're.
I know what it is. You ready?
Give me the
$1
million.
I don't want to interrupt. I'm
trying
trying
to go.
It's patience. Everyone thinks they're going to post something tonight and they're going to be an overnight success.
Yes.
You need to figure it out. You need to have patience, and you need to be part of the process. So everything that Jennifer's saying is part of the process. She took one thing she learned from this when she was wanting to do the marketing, one thing from her photography, and she packaged everything she learned in the process. I'm not trying to steal your thunder. I'm not trying to advance into the story, but it's patience and process, because we deal with it all the time with clients. They think they're going to work with us for a week, and all of a sudden they're going to have 50,000 people show up at their store. It doesn't work that way.
And I, like I said before, for me, I knew a variety of things. Like, what does Liam Neeson say in Taken? Like, I have a variety.
I'm dangerous, you have to be dangerous.
All these different. I was like the jack of all trades. Well, I had to find that zone, like my zone of genius that really connected with my audience. And what it turned out to be after my marketing major self, it turned out that the first thing that really, really took off was a book of copy and paste scripts that hairdressers can literally just copy and paste and send to clients when they push boundaries. Can you squeeze me in? Your prices are too high. It's like 100 ways to tell people off, like, very nicely.
You can say it on the show. Can I
get that book?
So this is incredible. I hope Ryan Bergman's listening, because when he was on the show, he talked about having the script also for making the cold calls. And I just think that's brilliant, Jennifer, because like that's something that they're all thinking it, right? Like, can you squeeze me in? Can I come Sunday? And people don't want to say no, right, to their clients, but you have to have boundaries both in business and in personal, your personal life. And for me, you have to look at life as like a roadmap, right? Somebody once told me, look, that's a stop sign that person just put up for you. That's a yield sign. And I think that's so important. So let's dive into that a little bit more. Tell me about this 100 ways, and what were the top couple, ideas you had, and like what were the big things what were the big boundaries that were crossed, and then what are your kind of best advice to knock them down?
Well, it started as the book, which has had multiple names, none of which now I just call it copy and paste scripts. It was first called like how do I say that? Was in the membership group. I had a membership group for independent stylists, and every month I would add content. And that, I forget what month it was. I think it was 6 or 7 scripts. And that was just what the members got for that month. And then later on, I realized the membership isn't working. Let me turn this into an ebook. And I took that and I used story polls also. Like, what do you wish that you could say to clients that you need a better way to say it? And it was saying no when people ask to get squeezed in or to work on off hours. Was the other one that was a big one? Explaining a price increase.
Yes, price increase.
When people complain about prices in general is a big one, because hair isn't what it was even 4 or 5 years ago. The processes have changed so much. Like, what used to be a quick set of foils is now a 3-hour, 4-hour thing with, if you want your hair to look on point.
Perfect. Right.
And the other big one that I had put in there was when people move to a suite or they move from one location to another, these are people that a lot of them come from commission salons, and they're not used to having to be their front desk. And now you're a one-man band. So you have to handle that kind of like administrative communication as well. And I said, look, I moved around a lot. I worked in multiple cities. I wasn't afraid to to kind of hop around. And this email, you can cut and paste or you can text it. This is going to cover all the bases of all the information that people need to know about your move. And it's going to save them time too, because they're not going to have to clarify, but what about this or what about this? You're going to save yourself 10 hours just from this one email, because I've done it and I've messed it up, so you don't have to.
I love that. I always think it's great when you're talking to investors about a business pitch. You want to make it clear that you've done a lot of learning on your own dime and not on their dime. And it's important that you're transparent about not just here's the product I'm offering, whether Jennifer's selling it as part of a membership group or whatever it may be, or it's me pitching an investor to be in business with us. It's not just about what it is that you have. It's about the process and the journey, what it took to get here. And, in my opinion, hairstylists, massage therapists, estheticians, anyone in the health, beauty, wellness industry, this applies to all those categories. You've got to look at yourself. And Jennifer, tell me how you think about this as a consultant. So I think of, if you're a doctor, right? You're not just paying for surgery for the hour. You're paying for the 10 years of medical school, the residency, all the things that doctor missed socially, personally, to commit to the craft, having to, have tremendous insurance, just there's a lot of things. It's not just that 1 hour. And so I've always said to the professionals that I meet at Salons by JC, look at yourself as a consultant. You're an expert in this field. And when you're selling your retail, it's about, look, here's what we use to make you beautiful. And in order to keep it this way for X amount of weeks, you need to do X, Y, and Z when you go home. You have homework to do. And here's my recommendation, and educate them on the process and, kind of why you have to do that.
No, I agree completely. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's another stylist actually this weekend. Long story short, she had somebody that was asking to come back in for kind of like a touch up, like her hair wasn't just exactly how she wanted it. And I said, well, at the minimum, you have to decide if it's a fix or if it's something that she just didn't ask for and it's like an additional step.
An add-on, right.
Yeah. And like, you have to charge her for products. And she said, and I wanted to reach through the phone and just smack her. She said, I don't want her to know how much the products cost, because if she realizes a tube of, color only costs $9, I'm like, who cares what a tube of color costs? She couldn't do it herself.
Exactly. Of course. No, 100%.
Yeah. She's paying for all of that knowledge that you have, all of the other heads of hair that you've done, the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that you've invested in your education. It literally doesn't matter what your supplies cost in other than calculating parts and labor in your pricing.
Yeah.
So Jennifer, are you suggesting for her to put that line item in, or package it all as one service and have one price?
There's a couple of different ways that you can do it. And I don't preach to the absolute, especially when it comes to suite owners, because so many of them, they really want to they've been just controlled and for so many years, and they want to do things their own way. So I recommend having a set hourly price for your time, no matter what, because that way you'll always make the same per day. You won't have one service you're just not making any money from. But I think you should calculate what on top of that you should just the way, like if you go get your car fixed, they're not going to say, well, it's $60 an hour for us we'll just throw in the brake pads for free or what.
Right. They don't do that. Right.
And hairstylists by and large do that. They don't, I call it dartboard pricing. They just look at maybe what other salons around town charge. They don't really break it down, and they look at their revenue versus their gross profit. And that is a very quick way to get nowhere. And so I think they don't have to announce, hey, I charge hourly. And then I break everything down. But I think they should do it on a spreadsheet, even on a piece of paper. And I have that in my Easy Money book, how to do it. And have, I don't know if it was Brennan Bouchard. Somebody said the best way to see the forest. What is it? No, that's not it. The best way to have the map is before you go into the forest.
Yes, that's great. I like that one.
because, and then I've said it's like having like a drone going over the forest. You can see what you're doing, because if you're just like, oh, you know, highlights are $250, where are you getting that from? Like where you're spending, people could be spending $300 a month on just the foils that they put in someone's hair, and they're not calculating that in. So there's so many stylists that say they make six figures because their revenue is six figures, but they're really only netting maybe 40 grand.
Well, sure. Look,
That's an exaggeration, but a little bit.
We talked about last week with the Rich Dad Poor Dad book. You know, it's not so much being rich is not about, and again, I don't love these terms anymore. It's kind of a little antiquated, but he says in his book, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep, right? Because if you make $1 million a year and you spend, you know, $950,000 a year, well, that's no different than someone who makes $100,000 a year and only spends 50, right? Mm-hmm. It's the same net. It's all about your net cash flow, and everybody wants to be able to produce, you know, passive income where you can have cash flow while you're sleeping, which is kind of the golden goose. But I think what Jennifer is saying, and I think Adam Tesser talked about it a little bit in when he went through the beach chair model. You've got to know the cost of everything, right? So yeah. Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you're necessarily saying a hairstylist should, you know, give an invoice that says, you know, $2 for foil, $10 for color, $8 for this, right? $1 for heat, $1 for coffee. But the hairstylists on their side need to account for that in how they determine their pricing. So they understand what services are better margin, where they should spend their time, and where they should say yes or no, right? Because there may be services where they're saying yes to a, you know,
kids cuts are a big
like
one.
a kids cut for $25, which maybe has no product, right? Mm-hmm. So the margin's great, but you just missed out on a 3-hour, you know, $500 color correction where you could put in 2 other clients in the middle while she's under the processor, and you could have netted, you know, $600, let's say, right? Is that what you're saying?
And the kids kicking and screaming and takes 3 hours.
And that's the thing. I definitely say I would not announce all of this. Like you said, you don't have to give us any invoice, but you should absolutely have all those numbers and use them to decide what your prices are going to be. And also too, people sometimes say, oh, and you'll get this completely. Salon suites are so expensive per square foot. If you look at that versus going and getting like an empty space, right?
Yes.
You can answer me this. What's the difference between that higher price per square foot and an empty space that doesn't even have a plumbed sink?
Absolutely. So when this is perfect, because I'm glad we're transitioning into this, because I get this objection as well. If you're looking at the price per square foot model, you can go around, you know, Bergen County, New Jersey, let's say, and, you know, maybe a shopping center owner is going to charge you, I don't know, 30, 40, $50 a square foot, and multiply that by 1,000 square feet, 2,000 square feet, figure out your rent. Right. Whereas, you know, obviously we're charging a much higher per square foot number on a very, very small, 100 square feet, 200 square foot model. But ours is coming fully plumbed, fully electric, fully operational, turnkey. I'm paying for the insurance. I pay for all the build out. I pay for the furniture. I pay for the manager, the Wi-Fi. You know, if there's a roof leak, it's on me. If there's a fire, God forbid, it's on me. And so really the difference is you're getting a business in a box. And when you go and do it yourself, you still have to go for all the approvals. You have to go to the town. You have to go to the bank, which I think is the biggest challenge for female stylists, having to walk into a bank and say, can you give me $100,000 loan to build out my dream salon? I mean, Dougie, you and I walking into a bank would be challenging to get that done, by the way, just at any time. And so some people do get so focused on that square foot. So I try to, you know, educate them on, you know, look at what you're getting, and it's more of a value. It's not about just the dollar there. But I also think it's important that they understand you can't really go to a shopping center and rent like 100 square feet. Like no landlord's going to build 100 square foot retail store for you.
That's a kid's cut.
Yeah. So like if you're going to go and, you know, if you don't like the suite model, which is fine, it's not for everyone, and you want to open up your own salon, which is understandable, it's going to probably be like 1,200 square feet, 1,600 square foot minimum anywhere in the country, not just in Bergen County. So
5-year
when you
lease.
break, exactly, 5-year lease, personal guarantee. So you're going to be going to bed at night knowing that your house is on the line and your personal credit's on the line. And how does your husband or wife feel about that? But the last thing I want to say, Jennifer, that we probably never talked about was even if you did rent an actual storefront, right? The cost maybe is $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month, pick a number based on how big it gets. The suites are still going to be cheaper because, most of these suites are going to top out around $500 a week. So that's $2,000 a month roughly. So it's going to kind of be hard to get under $2,000 a month on any storefront anywhere in America because storefronts are not 500 square feet. They're 1,200, 1,600, 1,800, 2,200. And I know that, of course, from, just the bedroom family retail portfolio. So that's another reason. What do you think about that?
That 5-year lease alone, I got to a point in my business where I had a double suite and we wanted more room. Excuse me. I wanted to get to where I had like 2 assistants working. It was basically like a mini salon. And I really just thought, if I could have 500 square feet. Now I feel like with Salons by JC, or at least from what you told me, that would have been an option. Like you guys work with people to have.
Oh, we knock the walls down. We knock them right down for you. And we've done
it wasn't an option, and there wasn't there still is not. You need to come to Carrollwood in Tampa. There's no Salons by JC.
We did buy one in Palm Beach. I don't know if I told you, we're in Florida.
I know
now.
You said Tampa, man. Tampa's where it's at.
And so, we've turned it around. I mean, I think we've got like only 6 suites left. And it's a credible story. We're going to do some renovations there. And shout out to Tracy, who is our manager down there. She's doing a great job building a sense of community. But I just want to tell you a funny story. When we opened up our Winston-Salem salon, we rented one small suite to a nail stylist named Kelly Tran. And Kelly ran, Kelly's Nail Salon, it was called, right? And had her own little suite. A year later, we were doing, we filled up pretty quickly. We were doing well with it. So we had more inventory in the building, and we decided to rent more space and build more suites. So Kelly came to me and said, Garret, I want a bigger suite. I said, well, no problem. We can build you a custom double suite. So we built her on the first floor, a double room. And, there was like a half a wall in between it. So one was for pedicure, one was for manicure. She could have somebody in there working under her on commission, right? So that starts great. And she signed. Now, in that instance, we'll do a longer lease. There's a bigger investment for Michael and I. So, in full disclosure, you're not going to, it's a different type of deal, but we're open to all of it. She came to me then maybe 2 years later, said, okay, Garret, now I want to open up my own nail salon in the shopping center. I said, great. You got the right guy, because State Farm just closed their insurance office and that's 1,600 square feet. Now we're going to talk. And so we met with Kelly, and Kelly had a partner and she got a loan, and it was an incredible success story. And she actually opened up a full-fledged nail salon, and it's beautiful. And, I'm proud of her that Salons by JC was kind of an incubator and a big brother kind of cheering her on. And, but I never would get in the way of stopping her. Her dream was to open her own full-on salon. Now, that's the rarity. It's not going to happen for everyone. It's not going to make sense financially for everyone. That was a huge risk for her, but she wanted it, and we supported that she did it, and I was super excited. So if you're thinking about opening up a salon suite with Salons by JC out there, and you're nervous because you say, you know what, am I married to this room forever? I envision myself hiring other people. I envision myself building a big brand. We will literally knock the walls down for you and help you grow. We will be your little engine, kind of next to you. It's your dream, but we'll help you get there. We'll support you the whole way.
That support
awesome.
is amazing. It's salon suites have completely, I don't even think disrupted is a strong enough word. They've really revolutionized this industry and just empowered so many people. I have to be careful because I'll get choked up if I talk about it too much, but the level of empowerment for people. When I started hair school, they asked us on the first day, where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I was, I think 28 when I started hair school. And I just immediately thought, not behind the chair anymore. Like, I want to work and then own a salon. And that was basically just what it was. If you wanted to move beyond the chair, you had to own
Right. That was the
commission
option.
salon, which is almost becoming a little bit, I don't want to say antiquated idea, but like that, if you go into a room of hairstylists, like new hairstylists, and ask them what they want to do in 10 years, I doubt even half of them would say that they want to own a commission salon.
Oh,
And
no, absolutely not. Definitely less than half.
I
Definitely
think
less than.
I would say maybe 10%, because now people want to they want to go, and independent education, I really also believe, is going to do for education on our industry what salon suites have done for hairdressers.
I think we've only scratched the surface, Jennifer, on education. That's the biggest objection I get, honestly, from, well, obviously price. People always talk about price, but other than price, they say, well, how will I be educated? How do I keep up? And I always hear salon owners kind of who don't want to embrace the suite model and suite industry say, oh, you're going to go to Salons by JC. Well, you're not going to learn anything. Your craft's going to die out in 3 years. Your clients will leave. And I'm like, mind blown emoji. What's wrong with you people? We've
It's
partnered
so
with
gross.
L'Oreal and our friends at Salon Centric, and they come in once a month, and we have an incredible community space. And by the way, any hairstyles is welcome. If you want to come in and learn something, they do best practices. Matrix was in there doing this thing where it was taking out all the toxins in your hair, this metal removal thing.
The metal
that was pretty
detox.
cool. Yes, metal detox class. And we also have people come in and do business classes and talk about, how do you set up your taxes, your revenue. And of course, if you're with Salons by JC with Michael and I, we hold your hand, as you go through the whole state board process and help you with that. You kind of get a little bit of our entrepreneurial spirit along the way, which I think is nice and is kind of a great value add. But so what do you think is kind of the next step for education? Because I definitely want to see more of that in the industry.
It's going to be independent education. And I've been saying this since 2017, and I get a little bit of pushback, but I really think online education is going to be the absolute norm for people. And there's a time and a place where you need to be in person, holding the hair up, and someone can adjust your elbow a little bit or say, do that, do this. But to give accessibility of incredibly good education to anybody that wants it, where they can just hop on a Zoom or just hop on an online class, it is going to level the playing field in such an amazing way. Like when I was starting my career, I was a single mom. I lived, I'm from New Jersey, but I'm in Florida. All of my family's in New Jersey. I shouldn't say I couldn't. It was really hard for me to go to New York and take a quote unquote good class because I had to have childcare. And people, the salon industry is predominantly women, and a lot of them have kids and a lot of them have young kids, right? So if you've got the wherewithal where you're making education a priority, why shouldn't you be able to log in at 11 o'clock at night in your pajamas on your mannequin, or just to listen to someone talk about best practices, or to read one of my ebooks and chart everything out, or however it is? That doesn't make you less than because you're not dressed in 4-inch heels in all black on a Monday morning on your time off at a mandatory meeting, learning something that you might not even care about. You can really, like you said, roadmap. You can create your own roadmap and just focus on the services that you love and go hard in education. For that, I did nothing but curly hair for most of my career. I didn't need an updo class. I didn't need a Vidal Sassoon precision cutting class. If I had done that, I took a lot of classes, but you know what I mean? Like you can really focus on, and we as stylists are capable of making those decisions ourselves and knowing where we want to focus our education, and to be able to access it in a way that really it works for us it just makes me so happy to see it. It's really, and it's out there.
Jen,
so you're not alone. Oops, sorry. You're not alone. When you go to a salon suite, if anything, your access to education and what you learn, you're going to blow the doors off of what you had before, where they're just steering you down one lane and they're deciding what you get. You can go anywhere. My friend Amy has an online education where she teaches balayage, and it's amazing. Cool. It's on you can access it on Instagram.
Simple. Simple. Yeah. I mean, I always use that analogy. Like when you're in a salon suite, this is not a catty kind of, I'm taking your clients
No.
environment. And also when you're in a larger salon, it's possible that if somebody were to put out work that didn't look up to par to your work, it's possible somebody could see it and say, "Oh, I don't love that salon brand, that work, whatever." It's totally different. Like the revenue of, you know, Juliana across the hallway from Caitlin, they're not tied together, right? The revenue's not tied. So whether or not Caitlin needs to up her game, which she doesn't, she's incredible. Just an example. Or who she carries or what she focuses on has nothing to do with how much Juliana can make. If Juliana needs foils or needs cape, she can knock on her door like it's asking for butter at your neighbor's house, right?
Absolutely.
It's an empowering environment for women. And of course, guys, they're kind of all like, what's that? Rising tide lifts all boats. My uncle says that a lot too, by the way.
I like it. Put it on a shirt.
Yeah, put it on a shirt. And you know, it's a big, we try to take a family approach. We try to celebrate the birthdays. We try to celebrate the holidays. You know, we're always doing, I know Jeanette's going to get some cute Halloween stuff, you know, this week. And we really try to make it feel fun and special, like a family. And so you are not alone at all. I appreciate that feedback from you as well. Can you talk a little, Jen, about the work-life balance, you know, having a baby, having your husband? How did you get through that? Because when I talk to a lot of prospects, you know, one of the, I think, big positives with the salon suite industry is your hours, right? I give you the key to the place. So you want to come and go as you please. You can get up extra early, get up with Garret. You can come work early, 6 a.m. if you want. You can work 10 o'clock at night. We don't care. You know, the place will work. Don't worry. The water works, the lights work. You know, and talk a little bit about how that helps, you know, a woman structure her day.
Okay. So when I got my first suite, I was single and I had my 2 girls. I don't know if you even know that. I have 2 older kids. I have a 22-year-old, or she just turned 23, and an 18-year-old.
I don't think I knew that.
So
that's
and
incredible.
The 23-year-old is in hair school right now, actually. So
awesome.
They were young. They were, I think Macy was in 1st grade and Morgan was in middle school. And but I came from a booth rental environment. So I already had like the freedom of structure, but I really wanted to have like my own environment where I could control the vibe and the energy. And
Jen, I want to explain for the audience what booth rent is, because most people, you know, let's say they're in North Jersey,
they don't have
this is totally new. So in a lot of salons throughout the country, you have booth rental or chair rental, which basically means the salon owner could be in chair 1 and they own the salon. And then the person in chair 2 would be paying a fee to the salon owner for the right to use that chair. That's their station. The negative with booth rental, we find, is that you really kind of pack up your stuff at the end of the day and you take it out. You're not really creating a brand and experience. You're still under someone else's hours of operation. There's still certain color lines that perhaps have to be followed. You may have to be asked to dress a certain way. So yes, it's somewhat of a on your own financially, but you still kind of have a big boss. Of course, everybody knows commission or hourly is a traditional model that a lot of hairstylists are on. So in New Jersey, booth rental is still illegal. I want to make that very clear. It's illegal. Salon suites are legal because we were able to get waivers where every salon suite is actually licensed by the State Board of Cosmetology as an official shop. So they do an inspection, they have an LLC, they pay their taxes, they have all the same paperwork that any salon owner in a little bitty box. It's like in Aladdin when, you know, the genie, he goes, all these great things in a little itty bitty lamp. And that's what a salon suite is. It's a miniature version, like a little dollhouse version, right? Okay, so I will let you pick up. You were in booth rental. Go ahead.
So I was in booth rental, and everything you said, I mean, we could wear what we want. I mean, all of that. I just wanted, it wasn't what I wanted for my brand, especially because I niched down so hard to just curly hair. Like I had other stylists approaching my clients while they were under the dryer, just things that I just weren't the kind of vibe I wanted. But so when I went to my first salon suite, it was just nice because as a mom, even if I wanted to go in and just do, and I don't recommend doing this. Again, I teach a lot of like, don't do what I did. I was in a really strong hustle mode for years. But if I wanted to go do a couple of quick cuts or just do a client on a day that I didn't work, I could take my kids with me and they could sit there. I mean, again, I would not recommend that, but to have
we actually don't allow that. Yeah.
You don't have the liability is insane.
We're not a daycare.
But it's part of why my daughter wanted to go to hair school, because she was all through high school. She could come in and help me and watch and, come home from school and I lived a little bit farther than walking distance. She could be involved in the process a lot, which was nice. And there were times where I could go in and shoot video if I wanted to. It's like, what you're walking into. It's a quiet room that you have complete control over. If I wanted to, I started making video, I think when like Snapchat was still the way that people were doing it.
Yes, I remember you telling me that. Yep.
And there's a lot of freedom that you won't get, especially in a commission salon. I don't need someone telling me that I need to wear. I had an owner tell us, like, I can't tell you to wear heels, but maybe just like a kitten heel. I'm like, are you kidding me?
What's a kitten heel? I've never heard of that one.
This, like little. I'm like,
my
you should be
God.
wearing sneakers.
Right. I know.
You
Like
see
the
nurses
best
wearing
sneakers.
kitten heels.
When I started working for the Golden State Warriors, I went out and bought these Mephisto shoes because you had to wear a suit, the NBA. And Mephisto are like these walking company, very expensive shoes that are made for walking, and they were so expensive. I definitely couldn't afford them. And but my body was killing me walking around the arena on the concrete floors. And I don't know how stylists do it on their feet all day. The physical shape you must be in is incredible, because your feet must kill. I mean, it's incredible.
I'm paying for it now because I didn't take heed to a lot of the things that I should have done ergonomically. Like I worked without a mat for at least 2 years one time because I didn't like how my color tray sat on the mat. Like it was
the wheels, right.
And so now when I sit down for more than 10 minutes, it's hard to get up. So, even trade. Maybe.
Yeah.
But the colors were right.
As long as the cool
colors looked really good. I worked for, I think, a year and a half. Those, I don't know if your wife would probably know the Tory Burch sandals that everybody has. They're just kind of like the summer.
I know Tory Burch very well. I once took Jessica on a Tory Burch shopping spree in the Hamptons.
I had a problem.
It was great.
I had a
love
problem.
her stuff.
And every color,
flats,
that was all I wore. And in Florida, it's always warm. And, I definitely recommend wearing open-toed shoes while you're cutting hair. But that was what I did. And for a solid year, I wore nothing but Tory Burch Millers. My back, I'm still paying for them. Paying for it. Do as I say, not as I did.
Yeah. So you would recommend women focus a little bit on ergonomics and in terms of what, where the height of the station is or the mat on the floor, and really invest in taking care of their body, right? Stretching, massage, eating right. Exercise. I mean, I think those are things that were ignored in your industry, frankly.
Yeah. And I think it was the woman that owned the booth rental salon I was at. She did, I think it was her, someone I knew did a very specific upper body workout. I never did it, but it was smart. When they told me, I was like, that's a good idea, because they're holding the blow dryer all day. They're holding, you're like this all day. And I remember the big deal for me was when I finally got a suite where I could be behind the sink. I was in a corner for a long time.
Okay. You like that, washing from behind?
And if you can, get a saddle stool and sit on it while you're washing. It's incredible. The amount
we've added that now. We used to wash on the left or right, and now we've designed to wash from behind. Of course, there's one or two that say, "Oh, I don't like that. I want to go," and we have figured out how to modify. We want to accommodate as much as we can because it's so important, the ergonomics. So I appreciate that. So I think we're going to transition into the final part of our show, which I didn't even tell you about this, Jennifer, but it's the lightning round. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh boy!
There is a short, fun lightning round that we do with all our guests.
Okay.
And keep it fun, keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Don't get nervous. Dougie will have a little bit of a clock that he puts you on.
Oh, no. Okay.
But just come up with the first thing that comes to your head for fun. And I ask these questions to all the guests of the Get Up with Garret show. Are you ready, Dougie? All right, here we go. Jennifer, what's your favorite business book that you'd recommend to someone?
I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi.
Okay, you know I love my vanity plates on Instagram. So if you were forced to have a vanity plate, what would it be for you?
The Curl Girl.
Okay, I'm a big believer that I want to visit space. I've been to Antarctica, but I do want to go to space. So who's taking you? Bezos, Branson, Elon Musk, or
The new and improved Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear? Who's taking you?
CEO entrepreneur, born in 1964, Jeffrey Bezos.
How many Amazon packages come to your house? Okay, this is from Ted Lasso. First concert, best concert.
The Monkeys.
Wow.
Was my first concert. I'm trying to think what the best. I don't know.
I'm a Monkeys
Queen,
fan.
Janice Landing.
Wow. I remember the Monkeys really well too.
Yeah.
Last question. What's a goal that I can remind you of about a year from now of yours?
To get better at doing my podcast.
Well, Dougie can help you with that.
I got you.
All right. Jennifer, Kenny, you killed it. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I really appreciate spending time. I've learned so much from you. You're a great inspiration to so many women. I feel bad. We kind of leave out the guys. I mean, there's some great guys in this industry too. I want to say I've tried to focus more on helping women, maybe because I have 2 little girls at home and I think it's just inspirational. But shout out to our guys too. But I know you've helped so many women kind of take that plunge, go out on their own. What's the best way for the audience to connect with you, Jennifer, if they want to buy one of your ebooks or just have a question about how to set up, the Square app or Vagaro or whatever it is?
I have my Instagram is usually the easiest place to find me, which is just at Independent Stylist Podcast. And my website is, I literally just kept my old website from when I was behind the chair and just changed what's on it. So that's thecurlgirl.com, which is easy to remember. I've got my ebooks. I have video classes now. And I also open up and then close them down in limited batches, one-on-one, like 1 hour Zoom.
1 hour Zoom trainings.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool.
So the Independent Stylist on Instagram?
Does that look
Yep,
right?
it's right how it is. Yep.
Yeah. Don't worry. The spelling might be off, but Independent Stylist.
Independent Stylist
on Instagram.
And if anybody wants to touch base, you can email me. I can give you Jennifer's email, as well. And I don't know, she's got like 30,000 followers. I mean, she's really grown a great brand and a great company on social media. And so, I appreciate you spending your morning with us and getting up with Garret. And I know you have a busy day of video editing ahead of you. So
I got camera ready. I'm going to use it because usually you saw that video I sent you. This is usually not the case. All right.
So
thank you guys
we'll
so
touch
much.
base soon. Okay. Thanks, Jen. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jen. Nice.
All right, Dougie, there you go. So a wonderful entrepreneur who, put her money where her mouth is, did the sweet thing for did a lot of different salon setups and then did the suites for a few years and now wants to give back, and nothing wrong with making money and giving back. I think that's really what the rule is. And very, very thankful for her. We have a lot of aligned interests with the education, and I love how she does trial and error, just kind of throws things at the wall. She's vulnerable, right? She's authentic, not afraid to try new things, whether it's an ebook, podcast. She's great with reels, and she does a lot of these cute videos where she'll be talking and then she'll point her finger and then something will pop up above her finger.
Nice.
I don't know, something on Instagram.
Yeah.
She's tried Snapchat. So,
nice.
She's no different than you. Like, go for it. There's nothing like, she's not more special than you. I'm talking to the audience, meaning that,
Oh,
great.
Thanks.
You are special.
Thanks.
But the point I'm making is that if she can do it and she's got kids, so can you, right? So can anybody. You just got to try.
Well, the leap is the thing that people are most scared of, and they don't take the jump to do what they want to do or what their passion is. And she's a great example of how making that jump and trying different things can, work to your benefit. Snapchat, Instagram. A lot of people I talk to, business owners, they'll be like, oh, I don't want to be on TikTok. No, that's where the eyeballs are. You want to get in front of eyeballs. You want to get in front of people. You got to be everywhere.
All right, Dougie. So why don't you take us out? I appreciate everybody joining into the show today, and hopefully the Giants will get you a big victory this week, and you'll follow Dougie and our advice, and maybe you'll make some money too.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Thanks for getting up with Garrett.
Getting up with Garret.